Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Chris Tam. I am owner of Face Plus Body Studio. I am an esthetician of 30 years, a Pilates instructor and studio owner for over 19 years. And now I dedicate not only my time and life to health and wellness and beauty and fitness, but also I am a certified health coach, nutritional coach with an emphasis in hormones. So today in this video, I would like to share my story about anxiety and perimenopause. I started my perimenopause probably when I was about 38. I had my last period when I was 45. I am now 50 on the other side of menopause and I couldn't be happier. So I want you to know first going into this that there is a happy ending to all of the chaos and hormonal havoc that you might be experiencing. The reason I'm making this video is that if you are out there struggling with anxiety that you're not understanding, it could be menopause, it could be perimenopause, and you might think that you're too young to be experiencing this. Your doctors might be telling you you're too young, and I'm here to tell you that I was in my 30s experiencing this, and I wish so much that I had somebody tell me that it was normal, that it could have been my perimenopause, my hormones were completely out of whack, and not that it was all in my head. I felt very alone, very isolated, very misunderstood, and I knew that there was something very, very wrong in my body that seemed completely out of my control. So let me just start with going back. When I was 38, my best friend committed suicide. He was my joy. He was my mentor. I just didn't see it coming. None of us did. And so it was at his memorial that I experienced my first panic attack. I remember sitting there and gasping for air, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I had never felt anxiety like that before. Now, granted, it could have been that I was experiencing something that felt very traumatic, losing somebody that close to me. It was the first time that had ever happened, and in such a tragic way. Of course, I felt that anxiety, but looking back, I think that's when it began. So fast forwarding a little bit further, I have been working in the wellness industry all of my life. I have been taking care of other people. I've been helping people manage their own stress. And what was going on inside of me when I started to experience my own stress that I couldn't control, I couldn't handle, I felt so out of control. I think it was more into my mid or early 40s that it became so intense, the anxiety that I was waking up with daily, that I had trouble getting through my day. Perimenopause came with a lot of symptoms, but today I just want to touch on the anxiety because I feel like it was the one that was most disruptive to my life and the one that I want you to just know that you're not alone and that you don't have to suffer through it. So along with the night sweats and the not sleeping, that really intensified the anxiety. But I can remember waking up in the morning and feeling the sense of fear immediately. The moment I opened my eyes, I just felt this intense blanket of fear. I felt completely alone. I felt, how am I going to get out the door and start my day? I felt isolated. I felt like I had no connection. I felt like, okay, if I could just get myself to work, I knew that I could kind of lose myself in my work. I would focus my attention on anyone other than myself, and that really did help me get out of my head and focus on other people. So it was really a gift to be able to get to work, but that was also for me a root of a lot of my problems. At the time, I was in an incredibly toxic work relationship. My business partner was my ex-boyfriend who I had been I either had to walk away from my business or continue to see him on a daily basis, which caused me a huge amount of stress anyway. As I mentioned, incredibly toxic. Now, what I'd like to say about that is looking back again, if I wasn't perimenopausal, I would have been able to cope with it and deal with it in a very different way. I felt like I had lost all ability to deal with stress and anxiety. I was also dealing with a massive manipulator and narcissist. So that's a whole other story. But the reason I'm bringing it up, a couple of reasons. I'm not saying this and I'm not sharing this conversation with you to be a victim and tell you what happened to me, because what I really believe and what I really want you to take from this story of my journey is that because this happened for me, it made me dedicate my work and my life's work into helping young women get through their perimenopause and get through the hormonal challenges and know that everything's going to be lighter and brighter and happier on the other side. The other reason I'm bringing up the situation that I was in is that you might be going through a situation that feels very traumatic to you. For me, it was a toxic relationship, both personal and my business partnership. For you, it could be a number of other things. So at our age, at the middle age, anywhere from your 30s or you're into your 50s, you might have children that are leaving to go to school. So you might be experiencing empty nest. You might be struggling in your marriage. You might be changing careers. You might be going through other changes in life that feel really overwhelming if you are throwing anxiety from perimenopause into that mix. I was going to acupuncture several days per week. I was seeing a therapist. I was searching for the right therapist. I was doing biofeedback. I was going on mindful retreats. I was doing yoga. I was teaching Pilates, a lot of classes per day. And none of it seemed to help. Towards the end of my perimenopause, I was switching doctors. I had taken a year off of my regular insurance and I was put on or trying another insurance that was sold to me by a rep. And before I purchased that insurance, I didn't realize that I had one doctor that this insurance would cover. So everything that I was trying that was not conventional medicine I paid out of pocket. And the one doctor that I went to and explained my symptoms to diagnosed me as bipolar and put me on head meds. The only other option I was given was birth control. So those were my two options to deal with what might have been a hormonal imbalance. But every doctor that I was talking to told me that I was way too young to be experiencing perimenopause and basically that I was depressed and was suffering from a mental condition. Which was really hard to swallow. I mean, I remember dealing pretty much all my adult life ever since puberty, ever since I had a period. My mood swings were up and down, and my premenstrual syndrome was like off the charts. So I knew that about myself already, but for someone to dismiss that the way that I was feeling, and I was feeling the anxiety that was not allowing for me to get through my day, to tell me that I was bipolar, like that really I felt so defeated. I felt so sad and I felt so alone because there's so much shame that I held around that, which I don't shame anybody who's suffering from mental illness, and you should be getting the medication and the support and whatever therapy you need to support your mental health. But the fact is that my hormones were out of whack, so out of whack that I was being diagnosed as being bipolar. My symptoms made me feel bipolar, but I did not have bipolar. When you're losing your estrogen, it affects your nervous system. You constantly feel, and for me, I felt this intense fight or flight reaction. So I was constantly feeling like I was being chased by that lion, and I could not get rid of that feeling. I had perceived stress that was almost like an addiction. Like my brain could not go past this fear state, and I lost the ability to calm myself down. I couldn't see the logic in what was happening because I didn't know scientifically, hormonally, biologically what was happening to my body. Now, as a health coach and integrative nutrition coach with my emphasis and focus on hormones, I now have studied and realized what's going on in our bodies and in our nervous system when we're dealing with the hormone imbalances. There are a lot of things that in our nutritional health and wellness realm and practice that can help manage and balance and control your hormones so that you don't have to experience the same anxiety that I experienced during perimenopause. First of all, I think that you're going to maybe have to be your own advocate and don't settle for somebody putting you on or for your doctor offering you head meds or birth control. There are other options. I can remember feeling like if somebody told me to meditate, to take supplements, to do self-care, I think there were times I probably would have said, you can shove that you know where, because I thought there's no way meditation and supplements are going to get me past this stage. But it really does help when you understand, first of all, that it can be happening to you, even if you're in your 30s, you're in your early 40s. It is definitely not too early to be showing and experiencing signs of perimenopause, and anxiety is a huge part of that. I'm not saying it's going to be every part of every woman's hormonal journey. Some people just go through this stage of life really well and without a lot of symptoms. But for a huge population of women going through menopause and perimenopause, we suffer from a lot of symptoms that we have been in the past kind of told to just suck it up and move forward, and it's normal and it's natural, and that we just have to get through it. And there's support out there, and there are facts out there, and there are things that you can do within your lifestyle and your diet and your exercise that will help balance your hormones and alleviate this anxiety. Now, I'm not opposed to medication if that's going to help you. You really have to be nobody knows your body more than you. And every one of us is bio-individual. It could be frustrating trying to figure out what the best cocktail of remedies is going to help you, whether you want to try some Eastern medicine, some Western medicine in combination with exercise, nutrition. And when I talk about exercise, really, it's more about stress management. So I was really, really used to hitting it hard. If I wasn't sweating, if I wasn't trail running, mountain biking, hitting the gym super hard, that is really what I did to alleviate stress. But little did I know that was increasing my cortisol, and I'd get a temporary relief. And if you feel relief from that type of exercise, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I say continue to do it, but also check in with some breath-based exercise like Pilates. Is my personal favorite. Obviously, I love Pilates. It's the only exercise that I've ever stuck with, and it's grown with me through my hormonal changes in life. Whereas I used to just go hard on the reformer, and I taught boot camp Pilates, and I wanted you to sweat really hard so that you didn't have to go to the gym afterwards. Now in my 50s, I can appreciate restorative Pilates. I can appreciate mat Pilates, reformer Pilates, any form of getting into my body and I really don't feel the need to escape my mind like I used to. But it's really, really beneficial and helpful, not only for your body as you go through these changes where you're losing muscle mass, uh, bone mass. It's going to keep you emotionally stable and happy and more resilient to be able to cope with situations that may bring on stress and anxiety. So, with all of this said, I just wanted to share this story, which I've been wanting to share with you for a long time. I'm 50, as I mentioned. I had my last period when I was 45. I was in the trenches of perimenopause from about 40 to 45. And I've been putting off sharing this information publicly to the world because there's some I felt some shame around it. I felt some embarrassment around it. I felt misunderstood. I felt like I would be categorized as having, I don't know, not being stable. All of the stigma that we hold around mental health, and really, I feel now that if I don't share my story, not only today, but moving forward, always in an authentic, real way, that I am doing a disservice to anyone who could possibly or potentially find this to be comforting and find help in this message. As I mentioned, I am a functional nutritional health coach specializing in hormones. If you're looking for a cheerleader, somebody to hold your hand while you walk through this time in your life, I can help. You can go to my website, www.facebodystudio. There you will find an online Pilates studio, so you can take classes anywhere, anytime. They range from levels 1 to 3, 4, restorative. I'm just saying, wherever you are in your fitness goals right now, or your fitness journey, you don't have to have ever done Pilates to join the membership. And there is a Facebook group where you can join and be very vulnerable. Nobody's going to judge you. We're there to support each other, to help each other, to have fun, and maybe even to laugh about it a little bit. There I will share with you my other tips and strategies on getting through this time in your life. I wish you love, I wish you peace, I wish you health and joy. I will see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.